In this episode of Gear Review, I'm talking all about the Cinepacks crystal kit. We've got the full crystal and the split crystal, but what are these? Now, before we get into this video, I first just want to say Cinepacks did send me these two crystals, but they haven't asked me to say anything in particular. They're not going to see this video before it goes out. This is just my full honest opinion on how you can use these crystal kits in your videos and whether they're actually any good or not. So let's get into it. So let's just open these up. We've got the split crystal, and then over here we have got the full crystal. Now, these just might look like tiny pieces of glass, and you're probably wondering why these are useful for video, but I can honestly tell you that these are incredible. These two different crystals give you kaleidoscope and prism-like effects on your footage, and it's really difficult to emulate the look of these crystals in the edit. Now, believe me, I have tried to create this effect in the edit, but unfortunately there's nothing quite as good as doing it practically. It's just so much better when it's done practically versus the edit. Now, of course, these are very particular. These obviously aren't going to be in a documentary or a corporate video, but if you're doing a music video, then just applying these crystals in front of your camera lens is a really awesome way of creating interesting effects in your video. The great news is as well, these do come with these two handles, which are really great because it means you can just hold them in front of your lens really comfortably. These do have a 1/4 inch thread in the handle, and this means you can add this onto a magic arm, and that means you can just have that permanently in front of your lens when you're filming. So if you're doing gimbal work, or if you can't take your hands off the camera, you need both hands to operate, but you still want this effect, it means all you have to do is just put this on a magic arm in front of your lens and you've got a great effect there. So these two filters are really awesome. The crystal kit is a really awesome way of getting great effects within your videos, especially music videos. I think when you combine one of these with some clever lighting and some cool camera work, I think you can get a really interesting and unique looking effect. Now, I have to say they're easier to use and they look better when you're shooting in higher focal lengths. So if you're shooting wide open at around 20mm, then they're not going to look as good versus a 50mm lens, for example. And I also find as well that they work better with lower apertures. If you can blur the foreground a little bit and use this close to your lens, then you're going to completely remove the chance of seeing the actual structure itself, and you're just going to get this really cool reflection effect. And that's pretty much all I can really tell you about these things. They're just two really awesome ways of getting really creative and interesting effects within your photography and your videography. You've seen some examples on screen, and you can see how awesome they can look when used effectively in your video work and your photography work. So I would seriously recommend investing in these because they are really cool. I've used cheaper alternatives in the past and I've noticed that they scratch really easily, and then you see those scratches on the footage and it just doesn't look great. So I would recommend getting these because they do seem to be built fairly strongly and they just create some really interesting and unique effects. They do come in this protective pouch as well, so when you're finished with them, you just drop them in and then just throw them in your camera bag and they're good to go. So if you are interested in the crystal kit, if you did want to get one of these for your videography or your photography work, then just go ahead and check out their website. The link is in the description below. But there you go. Thank you ever so much for watching. I really do appreciate your support, and hopefully I will see you on the next episode of Gear Review. See you there.